How's it going? I hope everyone's having a good week. Popping on for a couple quick words of wisdom about a very exciting topic. I'm going to talk about electronic filing. It's a little bit weird, but we do get questions about this, so I wanted to explain a little bit about how it works with the IRS and all that. So let's just hop in. Hey everybody, I'm Bette Hochberger, CPA, CGMA, and today I'm going to talk about the difference between e-filing or electronic filing and paper filing with the IRS. We'll go into some of the advantages, disadvantages of each one, so let's jump into it. What is e-filing? Electronic filing, or shortened to e-filing, is the process of submitting your tax return to the IRS over the internet. Advantages of e-filing: way faster processing. The IRS typically processes electronically filed returns within 1 or 2 days. Initially, there's a much longer process, but it gets into their system in a couple of days. The IRS will also send an immediate confirmation that they've received the e-filed tax return. And if there's an error, we can fix it if there's an error in the transmission. There's fewer errors. So the tax return, everything's got to be accurate. And when we get everything into the tax return and we file it electronically, their system does the calculations for you. The IRS doesn't need to rekey in any of your information from a paper copy that you've sent them. It's already in its system. Quicker refunds. This is probably everyone's favorite advantage of e-filing. It reduces the processing time, which can get individuals and businesses their refunds faster, most likely 3 weeks or less after filing. There are some disadvantages. There are limitations on the e-file system. So certain attachments, if they're really big, or certain forms sometimes, if they're kind of unusual, you can't file those with a regular tax return. Or if you're filing a return for somebody who has died, a decedent return. You also can't e-file before they open the window in January. I think this year was January 28th, or after it ends in October. You also can't go back and file old years either after a couple of years. The technology isn't perfect. Nothing ever is. So data loss is occasionally possible. Let's talk about paper filing. Paper filing is when you are sending tax returns through the mail on, you guessed it, paper. Are there advantages? Yeah, sure. Security. Paper filing may have fewer security risks than e-filing. Paper filing allows you to avoid entering personal identification information via the internet, like your social security number. So that's not at risk. Some people just aren't tech savvy. It's much easier for them to file on paper instead of trying to figure out tax software on their own. Disadvantages of paper filing: longer processing time. And it's like the understatement of the year. Paper filing requires mailing, which can take a long time to process. E-filing only takes a day or two to process to get to the IRS. Paper filing can take weeks, sometimes months to file. This means individuals might wait up to 6 weeks or more to get their refund. You have, believe it or not, less time to prepare. Especially if you're a down-to-the-wire kind of person, you have to think about paper filing. You have to take the time to prepare your return. You have to get it to the post office by the deadline. Right? If you wait too long, you could miss that deadline, and then you get penalties and interest. Overall, e-filing, it's definitely the way to go when it comes to taxes. But again, if you aren't tech savvy, paper filing is possibly a better option. And if you can't decide which is best for you, feel free to reach out. Schedule a discovery call with me. Happy to talk to you about it. And I hope you learned something new today about the various filing systems with the IRS. And I'll see you next time.